Welcome back. In this video we are going to continue where we left off with our color wheel. In our first video we mixed the pure hue colors from our primary colors yellow, red, and blue. We mixed orange, violet, and green. In our second video we took those same colors and we added white to them to make tints of our colors like light yellow, peach, pink, violet, light blues, and light green. In this video, we are going to take our pure hue colors and mix black with them to make what's called a shade. The shade here will be a darker version of the pure hue color. Okay, and I apologize ahead of time that most of these on the screen in class will kind of appear to be black, but you will see them if you're watching this on a computer. You'll be able to see it a little better on your screen than you will be able to see it in class. So getting started, you should have the same supplies: an easel brush, a palette where you can mix your paint, an extra paper towel so you can throw that away easily, paper towels to dry your brush on, a cup with a little water in it for your personal washing of your brush, and a cup to dump dirty water into to share at your table, and a cup of clean water to share at your table. Then getting started, I'm going to use the same kind of setup I had in my previous video here with a little warm yellow and warm red to get started. Now when I mix these two colors together, I'll get an orange, but before I do that, I'm going to mix a little black with each of them. So if I take a little teeny blob of black and a little teeny bit of black, you really don't need much black because black is so strong and so powerful that you don't want to mix too much or you're just going to end up with black. Okay, so if I just add a little teeny black into this warm yellow, you'll notice that right away it turns to this kind of muddy-ish, greenish color. Now black has a lot of green inside of it. So what I usually tell students when they want black is I tell them to mix colors together, because especially when the kids are older, because black ends up turning things, most colors, kind of greenish, and it's kind of difficult to work with if you don't know what exactly is making your black. But there is my shade for warm yellow. Now I'm going to wash my brush out really well, dry it really well, make sure I clean all that color off. We don't want contaminated mixing. Now I'm going to take my warm yellow and add just a teeny bit of black into some warm yellow, or warm red. And the warm red color will turn into kind of a maroonish color. All right. It'll be a little darker than red depending on how much black you add in. And again, try not to add too much black, otherwise your color will really just turn black. And you want to have, although you want to have a shade, I don't want it to be black completely. I want to be able to see that it's still the original color, but that it's just got a little teeny black in it. So there's my black shade of warm red. Now to get these colors into an orange, I'm going to wipe my brush off, clean it, and before I add black in, I want to make sure that I have a proper orange color. So I'm going to take my warm yellow, add a little warm red into it to get my orange. Try my best to color match what I had before. That's pretty close. Okay, now I'm going to take just a teeny bit of black and add it into my orange. And you'll notice that it changes quite dramatically yet again to a dark brownish color. Okay, and I'm going to paint that brownish color in to my shade of orange. So one way to make brown is add a little teeny bit of black into your orange. Now I would suggest for older kids to mix it in a different way, but since you are a first grader or maybe a second grader, that one way to mix brown is to add a little black into orange. Okay, now we've got our orange spectrum of a shade finished. Remember, a shade is whenever you add black to a pure hue color. All right, get a little fresh water, make sure my brush is clean before we move on. Now, moving on to my violet spectrum, I'm going to get a little cool red and a little warm blue. Now, the blues, violets, those are really going to appear black. So I'm going to take a little teeny bit of black here and add it into my cool red. And again, it'll get very dark very quickly, but I'm going to try to keep it as colorful as possible. All right, so that we have not just completely black when you look at my example in class. So this is a shade of the cool red. It's kind of like a mauve color. It's different than the other one. It's different than the other red. All right, there's my shade of cool red. I'm gonna wash my brush off. Make sure to dry it and keep it clean so we don't contaminate the colors as we mix. Later on, as you paint, maybe you want to not wash your brush out, but for this assignment, you should really be washing your brush out and keeping your brush clean. Okay, now here's my blue. This warm blue and black is going to turn into a navy blue color that most people might call navy blue, or some people might call it kind of like, I mean, indigo is not quite right because it's a little darker than indigo, but it's a very dull looking blue, almost black in the video. All right, wash my brush out. There's my shade of blue, adding black to my warm blue. Okay, now I'm going to take these two colors and mix them together to get my violet. This violet color, okay, looking like that. That's almost identical to what I had before. Take a little teeny bit of black from up here, add it in, and again, this one is going to look very, very black. This is probably the darkest color that you'll see on my palette, in class. When you look at the example, this will be the darkest color, the one that will look most like black, because the violet color is already so dark that you add just a teeny bit of black to it and it's almost imperceptible from black. Only when you add another color to it will you see. But your human eye will see that in class, but the screen that you'll see in class will not look that good at all. It will all look black. In fact, probably all of this area here is just black on the screen. So that being said, I've finished the shades of my violet spectrum there. Now I'm going to move on to my green spectrum, first cleaning my brush out, making sure I've got a good clean brush before I move on. All right, good clean brush, dry it off, there we go. Now I need my cool yellow, my lemon yellow, and my cool blue, my ocean blue here. And I think I'll put just a little teeny bit more black right here in the middle. Remember, you don't need much, just a teeny tiny bit. Now, going on to my cool yellow, I'm going to add just a little, it's too much, little teeny blob of black into my yellow, and you'll see that right away it will turn greenish. Not a very nice green in the sense of like what one might think of as green, like this green. It's going to turn more of like a olive green because the black color has so many other colors mixed into it to make it black. So it's not a bad green. It's just not like you might think of like spring leaves in the wind, blowing in the wind green. It's kind of a darker, muddier green. Alright, rinse my brush out from that shade of yellow, adding a little black to our lemon yellow, our cool yellow. Alright, now I'm going to add a little teeny black over here into my cool blue. And again, this one's going to be very dark. It's going to all on my screen it will most certainly look black, but I would say that this is more of like a Prussian blue. That's a color that you can sometimes buy in a tube, and it's just got a very greenish dark look to it. Alright, so there's my shade of cool blue. Now I'll wash my brush one last time. You can almost see my water turn green there from the blue and the black, and if you look at that little splotch right there with its watered down, that's the kind of blue that it is. It's got that Prussian blue color. Alright, so take a little teeny bit of blue, add it into my yellow to get a good green. Okay, so there's my nice leaf green like I have here. Exactly. Take a little teeny bit of black and add it in, and it's going to turn it into a kind of darker version of green. Almost getting a little blue there. Okay, so you should see a little difference between that. Yeah, on the screen you can definitely see it. This is a shade of that leaf green color. It's darker, more toned down, not so bright. So that's a way to mute the color a little bit. Okay, so that is my shade of green. So there we've finished our spectrum of colors with a shade of green. We've finished all of our shades, and reminding you what a shade is. A shade is when you add black to a color. At the end, make sure you rinse your brush out very well. You clean up all your supplies. Throw your palette away respectfully. Make sure you use soap to wash your brush to clean out any of the leftover pigment or binder from the acrylic paint. Okay, and that is how you finish your first grade color wheel with the Pure Hue colors in the center, the tints on the inside, and the shades on the outside.